Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and we're here at Corinthians Golf Club in Kent in the UK on a lovely, well, it is a winter's day, but a lovely day here. And what we're going to talk about today is why 90% of your shots, or bad shots, are down to one thing. And that one thing is simply your setup. If your setup is incorrect, the chances are you're not going to hit a good shot consistently. And what we're going to look at today, there are 5 parts to your setup. But what we're going to focus very much on today, how your grip is going to influence that setup, how you may start to change that setup for the worse and make your shots even worse when you're playing in a round of golf. So if we look at one thing, I think the most important thing when you play golf is having control of the club head. And the only thing that holds the golf club or touches the golf club are your hands. Okay? So that's really important to understand the importance of your grip. And we're going to talk about 2 things today to do with your grip. Number 1, the positioning of your hands. And then number 2, the pressure in which you hold the golf club. And the tendency is I see people, when they hold the golf club, it looks a bit clumsy. That's probably the best way to put it. And then the second thing is they're strangling that club. And what you got to do, when you look at the best players in the world, I always remember when I first started coaching, I worked for Jack Nicklaus golf centres, and one of the things they said is don't call it a club, okay? Because if you think about a club, it becomes like caveman instincts and you think, well, I've got to hit something hard with it. And their way of looking at it said, well, call it an instrument. If you picked up a musical instrument, you'd sort of look after it. You'd be sort of coaxing what you want to do with it. And it's the same thing when you hold a golf club. When I hold a golf club, the most important thing is I want to know how to control the face of the club. And that's the biggest difference, I would say, with the tour player to the amateur golfer. The tour player has good understanding where that is and how that's going to influence the shot, whereas the amateur just picks it up. So let's go into the grip. Let's talk a little bit about the grip. And the first thing is going to help to do both parts. Now, I always talk about, again, I use a lot of things to do with the mind, but we're talking about senses and we're talking about feel. Now, the feel part of your hand is much more in your fingers. So when you take hold of a golf club, it's very important that you sense that you're holding the golf club very much in your fingers, and the sensation really then, the sort of the palms and the thumbs just come on to add security that the club isn't going to come out of your hands. And the more you can feel that and sense where the club is in your hands, the greater the chance you've got control of that club. That's the number 1 thing. But as I said, I see people, it's very clumsy. They're sort of gripping, as I said, like a caveman instincts, and they're going to sort of thrash that ball. It just doesn't work. So number 1, when we hold the golf club, what I always want to feel in both hands, I want to run the golf club very much through sort of the middle joint of my sort of, I call it my trigger finger there, and then run across the base of the next 2 fingers, so the next joint in there. So just bring that a little bit closer to the camera. So I'm running it more there to there. That's where I'm sort of running the golf club. My little finger in both hands, especially my right hand, is going to join into my hand. And we'll talk about that in a second, how you may join that in. And then the feeling in the other hand, again, similar sort of thing. I'm running it through those 2 bottom fingers there. And then you get like a little hook in the finger there of the little finger, and it sits into that position, which allows then the thumb to come over. So I'm gripping the golf club very much in my fingers. That's the number 1 thing. Number 2, I want to look at my hands and how they are naturally to me. And that's a massive thing for me, because if I see somebody gripping the golf club incorrectly, I'd get them to take their hands off the club and just let your arms hang beside your body. And naturally, I'd say 99% of us, our thumbs will hang slightly inwards. And amazingly, ladies a little bit less than men. But if that's your natural position, that's how your hands and arms want to come back to the ball. So it's important that we find our way back to the ball that way. If we get one of these hands or both hands considerably different to our natural position, the chances are you're going to change that club face as you hit the ball, and you're going to get inconsistency in the shot. So this is the key thing. But what I want to get you to understand is it's your grip. There is no guarantee that you see 2 knuckles or 3 knuckles, that's the one thing that works for everybody. Okay, I think that's really important. We're all different. How you're joined at the shoulders might be slightly different to the next person. And that might feel that your thumbs are a little bit more straightforward. They're still slightly in, but not as much as the other guy whose thumbs look more in. And that's okay. All right, I think that's really important to understand, that when you get hold of that club, it feels like, as we're going to do some drills in a second, that you know that that club face is correct. Okay, if it is, then you're winning. Okay, so I've done previous videos on grip, but as I said, let's go through that grip a little bit more. So for me, what I feel, I want to hold the club very much in my fingers, that sort of trigger finger of my left hand there going through into that little crease below my little finger there, and that allows the heel of my hand to sit on top of the club, and there's my first natural position. There's my feeling, my thumb, as I look at it, down as the golfer looking down, I see my thumb slightly right of centre. That's my position. And now here's my first checkpoint to do. If I bring the club up, and I'm bringing it right up in front of the camera there for you, if this leading edge, that front edge of the club, is going straight up at that point, and my grip feels natural, doesn't feel like I'm manipulating in any way, there's my natural position. That's what works for me. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to do anything awkward here in my shoulder. Don't want to twist my shoulder to get that position. I want to feel that's as natural as it can be. And you'll see players, there's an Australian player out there, Adam Scott, you'll often see he'll get his hand there, he'll relax, and he's feeling that club in his left hand in the correct position. So there's number one. I've got my left hand, for me, that feels right. And this might take you, I mean, this is a little exercise what we're doing here, just do it at home. And what I say to my players when they change their grip, and we're working on that, I say to them, have you got an odd club, not one of your set, but similar grip, size, everything to what you've used, so you've probably got one in the garage somewhere, is put it in the hallway. And every time you pass that club, just pick it up and work on your grip. And you'll be amazed. You'll pass that club probably 6 to 10, maybe a dozen times in a day. If you pick that club up, you're getting used to your new grip and you're getting into the habit of what we want to do. All right, so that's my left hand done. The most important thing I want to feel when I bring my right hand in, again, that club face is going to stay in that position. So this is always, I feel, the easier one. Just let the arm hang there, bring it in, into those fingers, and then that left thumb just feels, as you look at it on the camera there, sorry, my left thumb's going down the right side, this side of the grip will look the opposite to you. My right hand is going slightly down the left side. Now, how you join your hands together, there are 3 grips. And again, choose the one that works for you. There's no right or wrong. I get people come in and say, oh, you can't interlock, you've got to overlap. I've got very small hands. I started golf at the age of about 5 or 6. So I started with a 10-finger grip, baseball grip, and then once my hands got a little bit bigger, I went to an interlocking grip. I have never changed because my hands are not too big. So we encourage maybe junior golfers, ladies, men with quite small hands. An interlocking grip is quite a good thing. Okay, now here's the importance of the interlocking grip. When you put it in, don't jam it right in. Okay, just got a greenkeeper going behind the hedge here, just let him go through. And the more you jam it in, look where it starts to put the club. It puts it back into the palm of your hand. So we call it an interlocking grip, but I call it the half interlock. And what I mean by that is just put that finger halfway in, and it allows me to keep the club in my fingers. So now that thumb can come over. So I'm not jamming it in. Again, that's aggressive. I don't want to be aggressive. Remember what we said right at the start of the lesson. Feel the grip. Sense the grip. Okay, that's the important thing there. So that's grip number 1. Okay, what I call the interlocking. Let's go back to my original junior grip. If it works for you, 10-finger grip. Not a problem. Again, juniors, ladies, men with small hands, but anybody, if that works for you, that's absolutely fine. And our third option is just the little finger rides piggyback, what we call an overlapping grip. He just sits on there. For me, it just feels like that's going to slip off. It doesn't work for me. But if your hands are quite big, that might feel like you're squashing your fingers. That feels great, or that feels great. So if you've watched my videos, you'll see I'm not a coach that says there's only one way to do it. We're saying to you, look, there's lots of different ways, find your way. 10-finger, half interlock, overlap. The priority is my hands, I'm gripping it in my fingers, and then when I look at that club, there's my golf club in the right position, okay? So that's what we'd like you to do. That's the priority, get this position correct, okay? That's the number 1 priority. Now, let's explain how if the grip is incorrect, how that could influence your shot. And what we see a lot of the time is it then starts to influence the other 4 parts of your setup. So if your grip is incorrect, that could change the look of the club, to the aim of the club. That could change then where you aim your body, so your alignment. That can change your ball position, and then also through the swing, it could alter your posture. So all of these things, by just getting one thing wrong, can all be altered because of that. And we're going to show you that now. So we've got two types of grip that we don't want, okay? So we have what we call a weak grip, okay? Now a weak grip doesn't mean you're gripping it like the club's going to come out of your hands. A weak grip is you're positioning your hands, as a right-handed golfer, one or both hands too far round to the left. So too much round to this side of the club. And what happens then, if I now bring my hands back to the correct position, look what it does to the club face. So I've brought it back to what feels naturally correct, but that club face is way, way open. So that's going to promote a golf ball to go right of target. Second swing, or second grip I should say, is we get too strong. Again, doesn't mean I'm gripping the club really tight. It means I'm holding too far round to the right side of the club. What will happen is when that comes back to what feels my neutral and correct position, it now closes the club face. And I'd say watching golfers over the years, because we want to stop golfers from slicing, the more common grip I see is the strong grip. And that causes its own problems as we go through. So let's start to see how those things will go through. And let's go with the strong grip first, because that's the one, as I said, I see a lot more. YouTube is out there. We're on YouTube. We're here to give you some sort of help. But sometimes you take an idea and you might just overdo it. Or people on there are exaggerating what they want you to do to make sure you're not slicing. So that strong grip becomes a problem. Now, what happens then is if I'm playing a shot and we've just set up a little thing here, we're on the practice ground, but in the distance there is the 7th hole. Let's just put a little gadget on the club face here to show us where the club face is pointing. And if we know that that's the neutral position, and now what I do is I grip it, let's grip both hands wrong. So my left hand is too strong. Straight away, there's my natural position, look what it does. My other hand is around there, look what it does. So instead of the club pointing at the target, it's now starting to point left. Now, if I don't change that, what's going to happen is my golf ball will go left of target. So what am I going to start to do? Well, if I don't change the grip and I'm in that position, natural instinct says, well, start aiming your body right. And what we've put down here, we've got the white piece of wood to show us the alignment of the ball going to target. We've got the red piece of wood here showing us where our feet should be. They should be running parallel to where I want to go. But because now I'm trying to get the club face correct, look what I'm doing with my feet. My feet now are aiming miles right. And if I'm aiming miles right, now all of a sudden, that club face has to come back into that position to have an opportunity to hit the ball where I want to go. But what happens is that suddenly, somehow, I get my hands back to where that strong grip position was, the ball's going to go straight right. So now you're really confused. Your brain doesn't really understand what's going on. Also, as you start to get that position, so if I go from, let's come back to this camera angle, let's say that's correct, and I now close my stance because of that club face, what you naturally do then is put the ball further back in your stance. Okay, that just happens. And what happens then is you're hitting down more on the ball, you're closing the club face, you could hit a very low hooking shot from that position. So you can see how easily it is from that position that I've got my grip wrong, I'm now aiming wrong, and the chances are now I'm not going to make a good swing. So let's look at those ideas. Let's hit a couple of balls just to show you that. So this is our, as we look at it, our strong grip. So my hands are too far round to the right. That's going to close the face. The face is now pointing that way. I've now got to aim there. Now it looks like the club face is pointing down the line, but I've turned my 7-iron into a 4-iron. It's not going to go very high, okay? Because of that, I'm a bit worried I might hit the bit of wood. So let's just do that. Now, if I do happen to get it back into that position, then the ball, well, it's gone very low. I had a shot I could have put on the green. I've probably ended up going about 2/3 the distance where I want to go. I've taken a big divot. Why? Because again, when I get into that position, it feels like I'm going to hit more down on the golf ball. I'm going to bury the ball into the ground. Okay? So what do I want to do? I want to make sure that club face is neutral. Okay, number one. So there's our first part of our setup. There are 5 points to your setup. Okay? Number 2. Get that grip like we talked about, in the fingers, neutral. Okay, that's part number 2. So we've got club face and grip, and those two things tend to work together. That helps to get the club face in a good position. The next 3 positions, now my alignment, I don't see the club pointing way left, so now I feel like, well, I can get nice and neutral with my stance. Brilliant. The ball can go back in the centre and my posture's good. From there, I can now swing down the line I want to go. From there, I can now hit the ball nicely. The difference in that shot, well, that first ball probably only went 10 foot off the ground. That ball got probably 80, 90 feet into the air because I was now allowed to use the true loft of the club. So that's what can happen if you have a really strong grip. And you can manipulate it in lots of different ways. I could be here all day showing you all the different shots you could create by that strong grip. But that's the most common one. The ball is going to go very quickly low and left. So, obviously we've got the strong grip. Let's look at the weak grip. Okay, don't see this as much, but it is there. So let's go through it. So a weak grip, there's our neutral grip. A weak grip is too far around to the left side of the club. And now what that does, it opens the club up. Okay, so now if I did that and I put that behind the ball and physically hit the club, looks like that position. Let's just bring it this way slightly so I'm not standing on this bit of wood. And it now looks like that. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to start aiming left. Okay, now I'm going to hit it left. Now, here's the problem. If I now swing across the ball this way, square the club face up to that line, I'm just going to pull it straight into that tree left of me. Okay, so there's a problem. Well, let's see if I do that. Even there, I then close that face down somehow. Oh, well, you can hear it clattering into the tree. No good. The more common shot you're going to get, that club open, my feet open, I'm going to swing across it. Well, I mean, that ball, I've got a 7-iron. It's gone over that tree, and I've now only gone about 50 yards. So both balls have gone 50 yards. That one because it hit the tree, that one because the club face was so open. I've actually turned my 7-iron. Here's the thing, if you've got a weak grip, you're probably going to lose power. I've turned my 7-iron into probably a lob wedge there. Okay, now that's a bit of fun if you want to mess around with it and do things like that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Okay, so that weak grip is encouraging that club face to open. The more open it is, you're losing power. So again, let's go back to that neutral position. Find your position. Start with the club face correct. Get the feeling into the fingers. Left thumb slightly right of center as I look at it. From me, camera will look the opposite way around. When I bring the other hand in, I half interlock into the fingers, and then that thumb goes over the top. There's my neutral position. Feel soft with it. Okay, this is a good little exercise. Just relax your arms as much as you can. Bring it back up in front of you. We've got the camera to show you. If for some reason as you relax it looks a bit like that, there's not a good relationship between you and the club. Start again. Okay, get it right. And that may happen if you are a strong gripper or weak gripper. You may find as you relax, you try to find that old position. And that's why that idea of the club in the hallway is brilliant, because you can just pick it up, do it. I'll guarantee if you do that 12 times a day, definitely within a month, your grip will be sorted, but I'll be pretty sure in 2 weeks, you'll have sorted it out. That's the key thing, because you're doing it regularly. Okay, you think about it. When you pass your driving test, what do? You drive a car most days. You don't even think about driving your car now. If you are asked to change your grip and all you do is go and play a round of golf where the score matters and you expect that grip to change while you're playing, good luck. It's going to be very, very difficult to do that. Practicing it 10 minutes a day, regularly. Just pick up that club. Get used to it, okay? Get that club in the right position in your hands. From there, I've now got a chance. I don't need to manipulate my body. Look how I opened my stance when it was weak, how I closed my stance when it was shut, how that changed the ball position, how that changed the club face. We got a really horrible shot left and low with the hook. We got a weak one out to the right with the weaker grip there. So neutral, get that all in the correct position. You do this. When you look at somebody, top players, they'll check things. They'll make sure that's in the correct position because they know the basics are so important. The fundamentals are there. You get this right, you'll improve your game. From there, I can now put the club down the line I want to go. Well, if that gets a good bounce, we're all over it. Yep, that's on the green. So I'm really happy with that. And it's so important to practice those things. Get them right. But as we said, 90%, I believe 90% of bad shots come from a poor setup. There's 2 videos out there now that I've done. This one, the grip and how important that is as you set up to the shot, and then your alignment. And if your alignment is incorrect, how that makes it hard. Go and watch both videos. Get into the process of making sure that you've got the fundamentals. So, grip it in the fingers, grip it securely, but lightly. Okay, you don't want to strangle that club. Feel the club. That's the key thing we're talking about. The more you put it in the fingers, the more you sense where that club head is, the greater the chance you've got. Now here's an extra little tip that we're going to get. We're talking about grip pressure. If you grip that golf club lightly, okay, and this is a little phrase I want you to use, secure in the fingers, relaxed in the arms and the wrists. Secure means you're not going to let go of it. When people grip it the right tension for the first time, they think they're going to throw the club down the range or down the golf hole. You won't. You'll always keep hold of it. So that's really important to understand. But grip it in a way that your muscles around it are relaxed. If your muscles are relaxed, they become quick. Here's a good thing. You are going to hit the ball straighter if you get that grip correct. You are going to hit it further if you get that grip pressure correct. Well, that sounds like 2 really important things. If I can hit the ball straight and long, how great is this game going to be? So it's important that you get that sensation. Grip it securely, yes, but not strangling it. Secure that you've got control, but you don't need any more than that. Keep that grip pressure secure but light, and you will have a lot of success in what you do. But if you grip it in your fingers, you'll start doing it. I hope that video's helped you. It's all about, as I said, getting that setup right. You do this, you will start playing more consistent golf. If you have enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends. There's a little bell there on the screen. If you press that, it'll give you notifications. I put videos out every Tuesday, Friday. Please watch them. There's over 200 videos there now covering lots of things. My main area that we work on is the importance of mind, course management, understand how the equipment works. Really important. And that grip being correct is allowing the equipment to work correctly for you. Don't go out and spend thousands of pounds on equipment if you're not holding it correctly.